all right, tell me, how did it go, man? How did it go?
It went well. I mean, it's a long exam, 4 hours long, and there were some moments where it was just super. I just had to calm down and say, "Hey, you got this." I've been studying it for a while, and I think the strategies that you and Kate let me know about really helped me pick the next right answer and pick the best answer, because I didn't always know what the exact next right answer is, right? So it helps you eliminate. The strategy helped me eliminate all the other answers, so I kind of settled on the best answer.
Beautiful, dude. Beautiful. All right, cool, man.
Man.
So I know you're kind of just like, you literally just did it a little while ago, right?
I'm a little exhausted right now. You can probably tell. A little like I was up super early, and I'm just kind of like a little bit rattled. It's just 4 hours is a long time to sit there and just read every question and go over every answer. Doing that for, if you think about it, that's 200 questions. You're reading 800 answers, because you have to read all the answers, right? Like, because that's one of the things that going through your thing is, if you don't read all the answers, there were a couple times where I thought I knew what it was, but then I saw a better answer because I read all 4 of them, so, because sometimes what you think is the answer just jumps out at you immediately, like, oh, that's got to be it. Then if you read all the answers, then sometimes there's a better answer, because it's not always the best answer. It's the best answer, but there are other answers that are very close to being good answers, right? Or correct answers.
So one could show up and look like, ooh, that looks good. Be like, yeah, but this one looks a little bit better or something.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome.
So I was very focused. I would say I was a lot more prepared than last time I took it. Last time I took it, I just felt like kind of a chicken with my head cut off. I was just kind of like, oh, what do we do here? What do we do here? Oh, update risk register, boom. I just moving through it. I think they're not all like super process related. There's a lot of change. I think where I got strong from the first time to taking it to the second time taking was getting tight on my change management strategy.
All right, cool. Why don't you talk me through a little bit, like you went through the accelerator, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Talk to me through a little bit, like what you were preparing, like what was different the first time and the second time? Like what made the difference?
You mean the difference between the first exam and the second exam?
Yes, sir.
So I think the first time there are a lot of questions where you're boiling it down and you don't know the right answer, right? I mean, it's just, you have no idea what the right answer is. But I think the strategy to pick the right answer in the face of uncertainty was what improved for me. Okay. I felt more confident in my decision-making strategy on picking the right answers.
That's big.
So it was like, I think just for example, it's things like that you guys have taught us, like there were certain ones where I just didn't know what the answer, obviously it was like, I don't know what is the most proactive answer in this one? I would find myself asking, what's the most proactive answer? The other thing is like, what is the most like kind of PMI process related answer? True. Because sometimes they throw you different terminology that describes something, but you've never really kind of heard it before. And you're like, that doesn't really sound like it. And then sometimes you'll just see what is the actual PMI kind of process jump out at you a little bit. But cool. Yeah, I found myself asking those questions. And I think the strategy with how you guys do it is you read the last question. I found myself reading the last question and then selecting an answer. Then I would go back up if I felt I needed to and just read the rest of it and be like, yep, this one I selected, it feels like the right answer.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
So I think the training that you guys give on how to answer those questions was really, really helpful, because the first time through, maybe it was just because the simulator I took, I think it was like RMC or whatever. I just didn't feel prepared at all,
Yeah. So that's the big thing that people ask is like, they ask me all the time, like, how do I know if I'm ready? Or how do you know if you're ready? So this time you said you didn't feel like you were ready before the first time you took the exam with RMC and stuff. Like, did you feel ready then? And what was different this time? Did you know you were ready or what?
Well, I think regardless of how prepared you are, you're going to feel nervous.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like I'm not prepared for some reason, because you can't be prepared on 100% of all these little different things on the PMVs and the EVs. I got a couple calculation questions where I felt definitely I hadn't studied this time around. I didn't study as much on the calculation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think that helped me, but I mean,
Yeah.
I knew the calculation stuff, but I saved that towards the end. Really wanted to, part of what PMI does too is if you fail the test, they give you a breakdown of where you were strong and where you're weak.
Yep.
So I was weak in monitoring and controlling. I had needs improvement in monitoring and controlling. So I really, really focused on cleaning that part up of change management. That's when I was talking about the change management stuff. I would say the first time I felt prepared, the first exam I felt prepared, I was not prepared for the level of ambiguity of some of the questions.
Okay.
I felt like all the questions were going to be, hey, when is a scope statement? And you have all these other processes, and you're going to know the answer really quickly based on just what you've studied regarding the processes.
Mm-hmm.
So this time, again, and I stated it again, is just the strategy, the overall kind of strategy for selecting answers, not always having to have all the processes nailed, but just your strategy has to be sound. And I felt like going into this one, I just felt like the interactive coaching calls and all that stuff were really proud of me. I'll tell you what else I think really helped prepare me was the questions that you guys use on those calls are directly from PMI.
Yeah.
So by going over those calls and going over those questions, you're really exploring PMI's strategy behind those questions.
Yeah.
And so I think that was another thing that helped me is going over, with a fine-tooth comb, going over those questions. Because they're directly telling you, hey, this is the right answer. And then you can explore that. And then on the exam, I got a lot of questions that were very similar to that. So I think that prepared me as well.
That's awesome, man. So 2 sides of the accelerator, you went through like the videos and stuff, and you went through the coaching sides, like coaching with me and coaching with Kate and those things. Like, talk me through kind of like the video side. How were the videos helpful for you? Like, talk to me about that, please.
Yeah, videos, the flows were very helpful because I think, again, going away from the first time I took it, I had a good sound understanding of all the processes and the kind of order of everything and definitions. But I didn't really understand how everything flowed and, your control quality, and to validate scope and that whole, the flows that you introduced in there.
Yeah.
But it was just super helpful. Also, the simulator was super, super helpful, going in there, taking 50 questions, 100 questions. Nice. The PM1 view is very helpful, just going in there as just a quick reference and be like, hey, what does this have? I think it's also, it's definitions. Also, I think also the coaching, what helped me in the coaching was understanding, you describe the plans as like the how-to. So I found myself when I'm answering the questions, like, what are they trying to do here?
Yeah.
It's kind of a how-to question. Let me refer back to the plan. So I think that was pretty important thing that I learned with you guys was describing the different terminologies that are used with a project management plan versus the registers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. And I know that, I mean, you were always on the calls and you were always there and you were like, I could see you like you're leaning into the camera right now. Like you're diligently thinking and you were like working through it. And I love the fact that you were talking about like, yeah, we try to slow down on a lot of those questions and just say like, let's get into like every word and how you're thinking about it. Were the calls initially like, were they scary or anything? I mean, you're in front of like 15, 20 people or whatever. With mine, like, what was the experience like for you in the learning for like the calls? What was that like?
Experience was good. I'm definitely, I would consider myself, a shy person.
Okay.
But I feel very, very supported in all those calls. I feel like everybody is super supportive. One of the other things I like about it is the chat function.
Yeah.
So immediately when I signed up for the simulator, I got on there and I was just seeing pings from people. And at first I was like, where are all these people coming from?
Yeah.
Realized they were just people just like me who were just trying to pass this thing. And people were putting like these questions they got frustrated with out there. And then people were kind of talking them through this. So there's a learning process going on with the chat function. And there's also a collaboration. You feel more connected. So I think that that's one of the other things that I got from the coaching calls, just feeling connected.
Yeah. I think so too. I don't know how the heck that happened, but it's there and it's like never going to die now because it's like you're going to be no longer in the calls because you passed. And then like another use coming in and it's like people are always like, well, I'm worried that, I'm not up to speed yet. And we're like, nah, dude, just jump in and you're going to like rise up with it because you weren't with us that long and things went well. So I like the fact that you felt supported. That's important to me. So that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, man.
Well, like I think the point I was trying to make is that you can, if you do this in kind of an isolated fashion, which I was doing with before,
Mhm.
I was kind of isolated before. I don't think I was as successful
Mhm.
as when I got connected in with your folks and your
That's awesome, man.
website.
That's cool, dude. I'm glad you did so well. So like, as you've gone through this,
I don't know how well I did. We'll see. We'll see in the breakdown. But at least I got over the threshold.
so here's the thing that I've learned about the people that do really well is that they always come to me and they say, I don't know how I do. And like, it's like the type A, it's like the people like, I think you did probably pretty damn well. First of all, you passed, which is
Yeah.
pretty good. And then secondly, I think you probably did pretty good. So we'll see. That's always fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see afterwards. I think you're number 73 in the past 2 months. So that's pretty good.
Okay.
So
Cool, man.
for you.
Cool.
That's cool. How has it helped you? Anything like regular job and those things? Have you given any new perspective on how you run things or see things or anything there?
Yeah, well, it's funny at work. I developed an issue log for
Okay.
one project. So that's just one tangible thing that jumped up as we have, a number of kind of items coming up during the day that affect projects. And so that was one thing that's right off the bat.
That's cool.
I would say regarding risk management, not so much.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other things, but issue log is one of them that just popped to mind. That's something that we started creating and that
That's
we
awesome.
work with and our group uses.
That's cool. Well, I mean, it's good to hear, man. And I know you're whipped. I'll ask you one more question.
Sure.
After you did the 4-hour thing, there's probably a guy out there or lady out there that's like you, like took the test before, felt pretty prepared, but then walked in, didn't go well. Just didn't go well. It happens.
Yeah.
And they want to bounce back. Now you did it. You were successful. You're here. We'll see how great you did in a couple of days. For those people that are looking for kind of some help, some direction, what would you tell them? What would be your counsel for those people?
I would just say hang with it. Get on some of these coaching calls. For me, the coaching calls, is what I think put me over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, going over those questions with a group and answering the questions in a collaborative fashion, as opposed to just hitting your head against the wall at home and be like, why is the answer for this question this? And I don't know. For me, it was a support structure.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a support structure to get me over. But it's also some people have passed it on their first time. I think some people pass it on their third time. Some people pass it on their second time. But just continue to just hang with it, and be diligent. And I would say you don't have to study in like massive blocks of like 3 hours, 4 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can for a little bit, but for me, what helped is I just would always study like an hour,
Mm-hmm.
half hour, do a test a day. So you're just keeping everything kind of at the forefront before the test. But also I think you cannot underestimate feeling physically prepared also.
Oh.
It's 4 hours. I mean, so just taking a lot of walks, making sure that your mind is kind of like cleared from exercise and
Mm-hmm.
Focusing for 4 hours is no joke.
It's very true, dude.
Right? No joke focusing for 4 hours. I mean, definitely the last half hour. The first time I took it, the last hour, I felt like just my brain was just falling apart.
Yeah.
I was actually reading the questions, and I was not computing them. I like had hit a saturation point.
Yeah.
Where I couldn't just take in any more information.
Yeah.
This time around, though, I was able to just I got through the whole thing. So I was mentally, physically more prepared. Just for all those reasons, the coaching calls, just staying in touch with people, the chat, the videos, all that stuff.
That's awesome, dude.
Well, and just encouragement, man. I just appreciated when I first signed up, you just gave me a call and you were like, hey, what's going on? Just let's talk. Like, what's your story?
Yeah.
I felt connected there,
That's cool, dude. That's
So,
cool. Yeah, I mean, it's good. And like this whole evolution comes because like month and a half ago, whatever it was, I looked up the date. I think you signed up for the accelerator on July 10th and it's August 20 something, 28th or
yeah,
6th or something like that. So not a lot of time. I mean, the best thing is you passed, you can move on, you can
yeah.
go to the next stage and do whatever you need to do, take care of the family, do whatever. And that's what we're here for. So we're proud of you, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate the support, Scott. It's been a real experience, man. That moment where you're clicking send exam on the end, I was like, my heart was about to jump out of my chest, man. And it finally just said congratulations, and it was just like, it's such an exhilarating feeling to just work that hard on something and then finally be done with it. Because in the back of my mind, I was kind of thinking like, well, what if I don't pass this? I only kind of told a select amount of people because I don't want to be like, hey, there's a guy I can't pass it or whatever. But
Yeah.
just thinking about, oh, what am I going to tell people if I don't pass, or am I going to go back and take it again?
Yeah.
So staying positive is important to just because sometimes on the exam you're taking, you'll get 3 or 4 crappy questions, and then you're like, oh man, I'm not going to pass it, and all of a sudden the doubts start creeping in. And it's important to just stay resilient and say, well, you start getting the next couple questions right, and then you start getting on a roll.
Yeah.
I think that was part of it too, is you find yourself getting on a roll with the questions and the strategy and your pacing. So yeah, man, I'm super happy and exhausted right now.
All right. Well, get some rest.
So
We'll talk later. I appreciate everything you did and a great job. We're proud of you. And
yeah.
we'll stay in touch. Simple
Okay.
as that. All right,
All right.
man.
Thanks,
See you,
guys.
man.
Take care and have a nice weekend.
Yeah, man. You too. See ya. Right on. Bye.